All right, we have opened the packs. Got a good idea what we're going to do for our building our decks. Our wonderful little promo card was Phyrexian Arena. I don't know about you, but I'm thinking I'm building around this thing.
I probably will be too. It's too handy to pass up on.
So it's going to be interesting to see how we build similarly or differently. Last time you had red blue, I had red white. It was a little difference, a little bit of similarities. What will we have this time? That's a good question. When do you get done? In the comments, would you have built the same decks we did out of it? Let us know. We actually are very interested in knowing.
Yes. What changes? What changes would you have made? Should we have added more cards, different cards? Add more colors? Let us know.
Would you have gone for a different color set? Totally different color set. That's always the interesting thing, is we got some nifty little multicolors that we could use for a multicolored deck. Red, green, blue, black, white. We've even got one blue-green land, which may make a difference for some people to have that one land to have two colors available to them. So one thing I like to comment on is I really just love the art cards that we're getting in some of these sets. They're just amazing. I look at them and go, really cool art. Can't play them, but they're cool to look at. And I love the full art lands. Join in, see what we build. All right, here we are. We are down to the brew. I'm going up and I'm going to be brewing on what we've got. We've laid out the cards, kind of looking through these, and I'm not sure how it happened, but we are completely dominated by black-white in this group. I mean, we got tons of white, got tons of black creatures, both of them. We got some support down here inside of white. None of the multicolors have black-white only, so we'll be eliminating those pretty quick if I go black-white. And of course, with the Phyrexian Arena being our special card, really kind of leaned me towards black to begin with, and I don't think there's anything in here that really screams get away from black. And same thing with, there's nothing screaming get away from white. Yeah, we got some nice fight effects inside of green. We got some counters here in blue. We got some card draw in red, some looting. But nothing in those three colors are saying, hey, play me. I will admit, for just a split second, I had a thought that I could get the one red spell in here that we've got that does 10 damage if the person's at 10 points. That's a very situational spell, and frankly, I talked myself out of splashing red just for that spell. Though I think it'd be funny to get Logan down to 10 life and then smack him with that as an instant in the game. So, decided to take out red. Decided to take out blue. Decided to take out green. So, there we go. So now we're down to black, white, and other stuff. We're going to take out the multicolors. Just simply, there's no black, white only spells in the multicolors. They've all got. Yeah, I know. Progenitus, it was nice. Might be a mistake. Who knows? I'm sure somebody who looked at this brew said, oh, I'm building out Progenitus, and then started going around that. Viable. Go for it. Artifacts. We go through the artifacts. I mean, come on. Swiftfoot boots, haste and hexproof, protect my creature. That's a definite stay. The others, Adventuring Guild, it's got a landfall trigger on it. Let me put it on there. Landfall gets you +2. If you got a landfall, you get a +2, otherwise you don't get anything. It's not making my cut. We got 2 of the katanas. Each of the katanas have the same thing. If it's my turn, it's first strike and +2/+0. We're going to put it in the maybe category. So here's the definites, here's the maybes down here. Don't think I'll put more than 1 katana in there. I could use the extra beef on that, but if I got enough love, I might put the second one in there. Campus Guide, 2/1. This creature searches your library for basic land, reveal it, shuffle it. Then put that card on top, and then of course everybody knows what that robot does. Comes in, search for land, leaves, you draw a card. I'm actually going to put both of them for now in the maybe category. Yeah, I think I'll skip the campus guide. I really am going to specialize. I'm going to look at black. Yeah, it's going in. Freshly in Arena is going in. So, knowing that I'm going to be losing life, I'm going to be looking for life gains. Things to offset that life to keep my card draw going. So, let's, for now, take the black and set it to the side. And let's look at the white. I've traditionally been a player that likes the white cards, so I have a tendency to go with this. And Banishing Light, that's removal. It's going in. Very useful. Destroy a target artifact or creature or something along those lines. Make your move. Another removal. Something I've learned a lot is get as much removal as you can in there, especially in these type of events. Put a +1/+1 counter on a creature. Gains flying until the end of turn. Prevent all combat damage to be dealt to it this turn. You'll see why that one's going in here in a moment, but that's going in because it's going to synergize with something else I'm doing. And actually, this is going to be kind of a backbone for me. Valkyrie's Call. It's an enchantment. It's a mythic. It takes 5 to get it down, though. That's the drawback. Whenever a non-token, non-angel creature you control dies, return that card to the battlefield under its owner's control with a +1/+1 counter on it. It has flying and is an angel in addition to other types. I get to recur my creatures and make them angels, and there's that +1/+1 counter again. Why is that +1/+1 counter suddenly so important? Well, I'm going kind of with a +1/+1 counter sub-theme on my stuff here. We've got Beldar Savior. When this creature enters, put a +1/+1 counter on things. Of course, we have the Primate that gets a +1/+1 counter on life gain. When you attack, put a +1/+1 counter on things. So that creature helps me with the +1/+1 counters. These cards, useful Valkyrie, flying. When another angel you control enters, put a +1/+1 counter on that creature. Well, first off, I got a couple of angels I'm going to put in there, but more importantly, it teams really good with that. So if this is out and that's out, that comes back into play, they'll come with +1/+1 counters. So nice +1/+1 counter theme going on there. I'm going to ditch the Heir Apparent. It's nice. It would be good to bring it back in, but it's just not enough there. And I've got to do some card cutting. So that's where it's not going to be in there. Inspiring Paladin. Here's where the synergy of the +1/+1 counters are coming in. During your turn, creatures you control with a +1/+1 counter have first strike. So with that +1/+1 counter synergy in there, a lot of my creatures will be having first strike. Very useful to have. I just like the Healing Hawk. I like the life gain. That's going to synergize with a whole bunch of other stuff. Lifelink is useful. This helps me recur, so I'm going to be bringing that one in. Well, look at that, Kind of on the fence on the barricades. I do like the hexproof, but I'll put them down here in the maybe category. Helpful Hunter, this creature draws a card. Well, hopefully with the Frexy Arena, I won't be needing to draw that many cards. If I need to cut, that might be one of the ones I cut. I do hate to cut card draw on these type of matchups. So I'm starting to fill up already, and I'm starting to get a little worried about having too many cards. But I'm going to go ahead and take the Heir Apparent. That's the one I know I'm cutting and taking it out. Now, I don't have as much +1/+1 counter synergy inside of black. It's all mostly in the white creatures. But we look at this, looking down through here, Extinguish. I do like life gain there. Additional cost, sacrifice a creature, will pay a whole bunch. Here's a removal, goes along with some other removal. And then we sacrifice this enchantment, target opponent loses life, where X is the amount of life you've gained this turn. So I've got life gain, sacrifice that and do some more damage to him. Take him down. Fear your own death, helps me recur something. So notice I've got recursion in both white and black. Bring them back. Bring them back, bring them back, bring them back. I have decided to take out Revenge of the Rats, create a tapped rat, flashback, create a tapped rat. That's tapped rat for each creature in my graveyard for 4 mana. I really considered it, but I'm afraid that one's going to go off to the wayside. Now, to create black angels, that'd be a whole different story. Or if we put counters on there, it'd be a whole different story. The last two I've got here, take a card out of his hand or bring something back from my graveyard. I'm going to put those in the maybe category for now. Now we move on to the black creatures here. Reassembling skeleton. Very useful when you think about that with this here. He dies, he comes back as an angel, dies a second time, goes back to his graveyard, bring it back yet again, and I can start the whole process over. So I can kind of reoccurring this particular creature over and over. So the reassembling skeleton is going to stay in. Tiny Bones, we had 2 copies of Tiny Bones, and I'm really tempted to put both copies in there. But being a legendary creature, I think I'm going to limit myself to 1. Advantage, the big thing here is discard. Get some cards out of his hand. We'll put the other Tiny Bones over there. It might be a mistake leaving that second Tiny Bones out. But you never know. Burglar Rat makes him discard. Getting cards out of his hand, deny, deny, deny. And we'll put it down here with the maybes. With Tiny Bones, I've already got some discard. Look at that, I'm getting off this thing, getting off down there. So, all right. Here's some synergies. When an opponent attacks, when this creature attacks, each opponent loses a life. I gain a life. Hey, that corresponds with my Pride Mate. So, that's good to have. Plus, I just like life gain. What can I say? When this creature or another creature dies, that I control, target opponent loses a life, and I gain a life. Another lose and gain life thing. At the beginning of your end step, if an opponent lost a life, put a +1/+1 counter on target vampire you control. Hey, I got some vampires in here. So we got 2 or 3 vampires. Guess what? He himself is a vampire, so if nothing else, if opponent lost life, he puts a counter on himself. So there's more +1/+1 counter synergy to go with my wonderful little knight up there. Recursion, vampire. So going with the vampire sub-theme over here. Here's a zombie threshold. Get some bonuses with some zombie menace. Put that down there, not sure. Skeleton death touch. When it enters, if I attacked return it, look at the top 3 cards. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of that card. So that'll be out. And we're down to the Abyssal Harvester. Y'all read that earlier. Why would I put this one in here? It doesn't really synergize too much. One big thing. I have a sneaky suspicion that Logan's like me. He thinks about a lot of the same things I think about. I want to get cards out of his library. Not his library, sorry, his graveyard, so he can't bring them back. So I'd keep the Abyssal Harvester in there just to keep cards from coming back in there. So here are my black that I'm taking out. Put those off to the side. So if I count up my cards right now, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 36 cards. If I want to stay with 40 cards in a deck, 36 of them being here, that's not good. That's going to give me quite a few cards when I start adding land in there. So what can I cut down? I really need to get down around 25, 30 cards at the max if I want to stay at 40 cards. So what can I get out of here? So I start going, okay, now I'm going to start my chopping. I think I'm going to go ahead and take these 2 guys out. The menace is nice. The +2 helps. It's a 2/4. It's got a 4 cost on it. The burglar rat's a 2 cost. Do I really want to try to have that much discard? I don't think he's going to survive the final round, so I'll go ahead and cut him now. 2 is always cheap to get down. Probably will end up being a mistake. I really go on the fence back and forth with Pilfer. I actually like to look at his hand to get rid of something. And target opponent to creature, so return target creature card. There's that recursion. Man, that's tough for me to cut those 2 out of there. I think I'll just go with 1 sad robot instead of 2. No reason to have 2 of them in there. Still not anywhere close to the 12 I need, is it? Get rid of one of the crystallines. Go ahead and take the shiny one out just because it shows up horribly on camera. Very pretty card though. Why would I keep that one there? Hexproof. Starting to look through some of the stuff. How important is hexproof going to be? That's the question. That's what I have to keep asking myself when I see that card. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm down to 30 if I take these two cards out. Can I live with 30? Can I live with 30? I will say that these would go into a sideboard. A lot of these cards that I'm cutting here at this point are going into my sideboard. So keep that in mind. Wow. Do I want to go with 30 or do I want to cut some more? I got so much synergy with the +1 counters and the life gain. Man, this is a tough one, folks. It really is. It's like, where do I cut? To add in, I like 40% land. So to bring down 40% land in this, I'm going to need right about, let's see here, divide 30 by 6. That's 5 times 4. I'm going to need 20 land to give me a 50 card deck. 50 instead of a 40 card deck. That's what I come down to. And you know what? I think I can live with a 50 card deck. Yeah. So that's what it is going to be. Synergies, +1 counters, life gain, bring them back as angels, giving us more counters, keep hitting him back and forth. Got my recurring reassembling skeleton in there. We may find later that, hey, 50 was the wrong number. But I think that's where we're going to go. That's what my deck's going to look like, guys.
Hello, everyone. This is Logan here, doing my part of the deck building. And, after going through the opening cards and looking at them, I really did think about going elves. I really like elves, but unfortunately, with only 3 elves in green and none in black, I won't be going that way. Looking at the cards, Pranger probably had the same idea. Black and white is very, very prominent here, and most likely what I will be going with. Not too many popped out to me as we went through. So let's go ahead and start cutting cards. We can cut blue altogether. There's just nothing that really stood out to me as, hey, build me. So we'll remove that. Green, as I said, really wanted to do elves, but there's just not enough, and there's no point in trying to make it work with only 4 cards. So for that reason, green is out. Red, hardly anything. It's not worth building around. I could splash if I wanted to, but 3 colors in a 40 card deck sounds a bit rough, honestly. So let's go ahead and cut red out. And with that, we can also cut out all of our multicolored. Starting with some of the artifacts here. Sad Robot. Always like Sad Robot. Land fixing and card draw is nice. For the campus guy, if it put the land on the field, I would go with it, but having to refill it and then put it as a top card in my library, I feel a little bit slow for this format, so let's not go with that. And I think 1 Sad Robot's good enough for me. For finishing up artifacts, Swiftfoot Boots, of course. Pranger will most likely both be running that. It's just too good to not pass up. Adventure Gear, there's not really a whole lot of landfall or land recursion going on, so we won't be doing that. And for the Katana, it's only during your turn. So it'd be good for attacking, but I feel like defending is not gonna, it does absolutely nothing, so I will not be running it. Alright, so that leaves us with black and white. We're gonna run a Phyrexian Arena. It's too good to pass up. You can draw a card, lose a life. I'm willing to lose a life for a card. And with the loss of life, let's look at white. I noticed white had a lot of life gain, or just a bit. So with that, we'll go through the creatures. Starting with Healer's Hawk. That's definitely a keep. A 1-drop for a flying lifelink. Can't pass. More lifelink. That's card draw, defenders, lifelink, of course. Token protection, +1/+1 counters, exile at graveyard, vigilance, +1/+1 counters. Whenever this attacks with 3 or more creatures to counters. A primate, I'm gaining life, might as well go ahead and get some counters while I'm at it. Is there any more life gain I can squeeze into the deck? Let's look into black and see what we have. That's discard. Copies. No. If opponent lost life this turn, put +1/+1 counter. That's not life gain for me. Reassembling skeleton, he comes back. When this attacks, each opponent loses life and you gain life. That is gain a life. That works for me. When this creature or another creature you control dies, target opponent loses life and gain life. More life gain. Gonna love it. Let's see what we have. Non-creatures for life gain. Each opponent loses X life, you gain life equal to the amount of life lost this way. Sure. Be a good way to just steal a little bit of life, stay in the game, and hopefully you remove Pranger for the game. Exile. Midnight Snack, also going to go with. I can make a food token. Food tokens gain 3 life. And then when I sacrifice the enchantment here, target opponent loses X life or X amount of life I gained for this turn. Well, I have a bit of life gain, so maybe if I can get it all to go off on a turn, I can drain Pranger for a little bit. Treasure, token, return. And then what about for white? Anything for life gain? Nope. Alright, so that's it for the life gain. That should keep me alive a decent amount. Alright, let's finish up going through all the white stuff. Start with creatures. Well, since I have creatures with lifelink, getting +1/+1 counters on them would be nice. So we can put that in. There's a battlefield, put +1/+1 counter on this creature. We'll see if I can go with. We do have 2 angels. We have 3 angels. The Valkyrie only really works with other angels, and the other angels are okay. So we'll put those on hold for now. See what we have. During your turn, creatures you control with +1/+1 counters on them have first strike. First strike is always nice to have, and it synergizes with the +1/+1 counters. Rabbits. I make rabbits equal to the amount of these, so I would only get 1. If we had a few more of those, I would put them in. Right now, I don't think it's worth it, so that's going to get cut. The barricades. Card draw. It'd be nice having 1 extra, so only 1 source of card draw. Let's have a little bit of extra. Barricades, we'll move to maybe. Let's see what we got. Valkyrie's Call. Return that whenever a non-token non-angel dies, return that card to the battlefield. It gets a +1/+1 counter, which is nice. It has flying and it is an angel. Well, that helps a lot with keeping all of the lifelink alive. It gets +1/+1 counters. It'll get first strike. And then, with that right there, we can go ahead and add in Youthful Valkyrie. That's already that'll synergize well with this if we get it out. What other? Let's see, put +1/+1 counter on target creature, it gains flying. Yep. And it also prevents all combat damage that would be dealt to it this turn. So, worst case, I waste it to save a creature. Make your move, destroy target artifact or enchantment or creature with power 4 or greater. Swiftfoot would be a nice target. The Midnight Snack would be a nice target. I could see some uses. We'll put this down here with some maybes. Banishing light, yes. Let's get some removal. We'll move these up and off to the side. I like running the minimum amount of cards usually, so that's going to be 40 with about 16 land, so I'm looking at 24 cards. That's 18 already, so it only needs 6 more. So let's see what I can find. A 2/2 Death Touch isn't bad to have. We'll think about that. Resibling Skeleton, just because it's a blocker I can always have. Hopefully Pranger will be losing life during his turns, and this gets a +1/+1 counter on target vampire you control. I have 2 vampires, 3 vampires, so yeah, it's something. It's +1/+1 counter, so it synergizes. There's the Soul Collar, but we're gonna cut it. It's flying, it can't block, which I really don't like, and then it does return a card, but I already have return. I'm gonna go ahead and cut Tiny Bones. I'm not gonna worry about discard too much, so that's gonna get Burglar Rat gone in the Crypt Fester minutes. When this creature attacks, if there are 7 more cards in your graveyard. 7 or more, I feel like the game would be over, or if it is, it's only 5. No, I'm going to go ahead and cut it. May not be a smart decision, but decision nonetheless. Alright. So I've added 3 cards. Alright. Zombify, Pilfer, Revenge, Take, Ease No Life. Zombify, return card, creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. That's nice because it goes directly onto the battlefield, so we'll put that in the maybe. Pilfer, yep, I want that just so I can mess with Pranger and make him discard something from his hand of my choice. So if he does try to sneak in prediction of this, it's gonna be gone. Ease No Life, I can sacrifice a creature or pay a little bit extra. Exile a creature. Excellent. Removal is always good. Okay. Fake Your Own Death. Let's go ahead and add that in because just in case I can't get that Valkyrie's Call out for some reason, it is 5 mana. That could be it. Instant, and if the creature I target would die, it returns tapped onto my battlefield, and I get a treasure. And I also want to bring in Revenge of the Rats. Just because a little swarm effect. If for some reason I have like 3 or 4 creatures in my graveyard, there's a 3 or 4 tokens I could have on the battlefield. Let's see. For the Abyssal Harvester, yeah, we can run that. May have to go 1 or 2 cards above 40, but that seems worth it. Alright. Let's see how we're doing. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 26, and then 16 land. Was that 42? Yeah. Alright. Yeah, that will be my deck. A little bit buff, but not too badly. And we'll see how this does against Pranger. I probably won't do a sideboard. I don't think there's a few cards I could put in, but none that I think is really going to make too much of a difference. Alright, I'll see you in the play video.